This is very strange.
Like
this is
stores,
Whole Foods
right?
Market.
They scan your stuff in your bag, right?
So you can't even walk into Whole Foods unless you go through this machine?
Yeah.
I need my own QR code. How do I get my own QR code? How do I get my own QR code? I have to have my own QR code to come into Whole Foods?
Means you don't have to stand in line when you leave.
What do? They just what?
It
What
just knows you have it. It scans it.
It knows you have. Be able to pay for groceries at every Whole Foods in the U.S. with just a swipe of your hand. Amazon says that the Pay by Palm technology will be at all of those stores nationwide by the end of the year. Customers just have to hover their hand over the device to pay. This method is already being used at 200 Whole Foods locations across 20 states, and you can also find it in other places, stores like Panera Bread. Hardware editor at TechCrunch, Brian Heater, joins us now. Brian, let's just start off. Tell us how this technology works.
Sure. So in terms of the actual enrollment process, the first time you go to one of these Amazon One locations, you wave your hand over it. That will enroll you in the program, and then you associate that with a credit card that you have on file. In terms of the actual underlying technology behind it, it's not actually getting a read of the palm itself, which, I think is what most people expect. It's actually taking a look at the vein patterns underneath your hands, which Amazon is effectively saying is a way to do this kind of biometric identification without actually giving any identifying information away.
That's fascinating. I mean, I think anybody who hears this story immediately goes to questions about safety, privacy, the data that's being collected. Amazon has been criticized in the past for some of the data that they collect, and whether they have properly notified consumers about that. What safeguards is Amazon taking?
Sure. Well, the primary one is all of this is going through Amazon's cloud servers. So this is encrypted information. Amazon has generally done a good job of protecting privacy through the cloud itself. I think one of the sort of bigger concerns around this specifically is that unlike the biometric data that you're giving on your phone, for example, that's stored locally on the device itself, but this is going up into the cloud. So like theoretically, somebody could potentially grab that data, but it's intensely difficult.
All right. Very interesting.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. That is to say in the ancient Hebrew, Yahweh, which is the Heavenly Father, which means He is, Bahashem, which is in the name in the ancient Hebrew, Yahweh Shai, which is He is salvation. And that's who the word English calls Jesus, a so-called black man. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, I just played a couple of clips for you to show you that they are preparing for the next round, and they getting things into place. So once that next round happens, they'll have everything set up for where, they needed to go, where they wanted to go at. Because it's speculation and talk that there could be a second lockdown coming as soon as the middle of next month, which is September, in the beginning of fall. So between fall and, the end of the year, it could be a major lockdown that could be used to, help push the agenda forward and bring in the mark. So they have these turnstiles placed at your local, store, whether it's your grocery store or whether it's, a Batista where you go to get like coffee and stuff, or whether it's at a bar or your clubs. Like if you go out to the clubs, they can have it there. Or if you go to a gym to work out, you can easily see them putting one there, and you having to show whether or not you have a clean bill of health and you've had your, your updates on your J's, if you get what I'm trying to say, that they say you have to have, all three of them, or however many more they have at that time, it's going to be able to read whether or not you have had your updated, J. So then they can read your biometrics and see whether or not it's been, taken care of, that you comply with the restrictions that the, people who are in charge gave to the mass. So you can see these turnstile hand readers, being implemented more and more throughout, the whole industry, all sectors, like I named, like not just the grocery store, but your local, you know, barbershop, for instance, or your local gym, your local club, bars, whatever. These could be put into play, to be used to say, okay, we're going to get the economy back up and rolling now. It's just one part of the tool, how they can use this to justify, you receiving that mark to continue to play, and they, play in their playground. So you see Whole Food say they're going to have it at all their stores before the end of this year, which is 2023. So if you have a Whole Food store near you, be expected to see these things popping up more and more as we get closer to the end of the year. So this is just, all coming together, because like I said, they said they want to bring back lockdowns and mask mandates. So this can really damper the economy and send the economy into a further collapse, Therefore, helping bring about the next agenda, the next wave of, their plan. So don't think any of this is by happen chance. No, it's all by design. This is how they can set up the next move for them to, implement this next phase of this next stage. Just what? Let's slowly and gradually bring it around to the people, so we don't spook them or scare them off, and give them it bit by bit, step by step. So you can be familiar with it and not be, bucking up at the system per se. So you see more and more of these, like it's another clip, I think, where it shows Aldi is using it too. So now you getting more familiar with this technology and you seeing it more and more. And like I said, they did a study earlier, I don't know if it was this month or the latter end of last month, where they had this orb and it scanned your eye for like a certain amount of money, so they getting people familiar with these biometrics. So you won't have no issue once they roll out the real biometric that they want to put inside your right hand or on your forehead. So they letting you know it's coming whether you ready or not, So they gradually bringing it around to the people so you can get familiar with this technology. Because sooner or later, in order for you to go into a store, whether it's a grocery store, whether it's your local Walmart, Target, or whatever, store you go to shop at and to, buy or sell, you're going to have proof that you're not, how do I say it without raising any flags, that you're not, being compromised. So the only way they're going to be able to check whether or not you're being compromised is they're going to have some kind of form of biometrics. So this is the way that they're going to use. They're going to bring it out. Okay, you have to have that in your right hand or your forehead, and then they're going to be able to tell whether or not you've been compromised or whether or not you've been kept up to par and had all your J's, and you got the latest one, whichever one they told you to go and get, so you could keep with the updates. So this is all coming. So, the best thing you can do is really start to have faith and believe that, we almost out of this, because it's going to be a hard fall once this thing start to collapse, because people are not going to want to lose their jobs. People are not going to want to be unemployed. But that's all part of the agenda. They got to collapse this economy. So what are they going to do? They're going to come back with this second round of mask and lockdown. So, that's going to shut down this economy. And you see how it was back in 2020. Well, this time they're going to have intermediate, connection to connect you with whatever help or handout that they give it to you. And that's why they came out with the Fed now. So now you seeing how everything is playing in together and, being all on one accord. So here you got the QR codes, then you got the what? You may have the lockdown, or you may have to have something where, people lose their jobs and they need to get, extra money. So in order for you to get help from the government, you're going to have that Fed now. You're going to have to download it on your phone or whatever. So you can get the funds directly inserted into your account. Okay, so we here. We are looking at potentially the collapse and the downfall of this economy. And not only that, they just had a meeting in BRICS where they said beginning in January, you had a few new countries that's been added onto the BRICS, and one of those countries is Saudi Arabia. So you already know how the dollar is tied in, or the petrodollar is tied in with the oil in Saudi Arabia. So now just imagine that playing into place, that now the Saudis may no longer choose to use the petrodollar, but one of the BRICS nation dollars or whatever currency they set up. So now on top of that, you got the lockdowns and the petrodollar, which is tied to the USD. That might start to lose its value. So this thing could very much well be ended by the end of next year, right before election time. I mean, it's all coming together like a well sought out play. Then you got Trump that just turned himself in, in Fulton County Jail. That's in Georgia. So we got to see how that's going to affect the presidency candidate. So all these things are coming into play as in one, that's showing you that this place is getting ready to implode on itself. And then they're going to come out with the savior. They're going to come out with that mark. Okay, you can take this right here and put this in your right hand, and you can get back to your life. Go inside our grocery stores, go inside your gym, go to your bars or your clubs or whatever. If you go to school, you got to have this to enter into school, whether you're in elementary, high school, middle school, high school, or college. You seeing how they set this thing up for the next round, because this very much well could be the round that really sets things off. Okay, so let's get a scripture. This is Revelation 13:16. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So if you don't have this mark, you're not going to be able to buy or sell. So what do you buy and sell? You buy and sell. You could go to a grocery store. You ain't going to be able to go get food. You're not going to be able to work out. You're not going to be any place you need to do transactions. Forget about it. That's just how it's going to be. And eventually they're going to, crash the internet too. Or they might have to put it on. They might have to put the internet inside your head. So this is it. We right here at the doorstep. We got to see how these next 2-3 months gonna play out. You know, because Esau is good, or Esau is known for putting information out there just so you can be discredited. So he'll throw something out there on one of his watchdog or his lackeys, so they'll put it out there, so you'll go report on it, and then when that time comes, it'll never happen. So then you'll look like you just more into conspiracies or whatever. So Esau is good at throwing out false information just to throw off the whole mass. But we know, like it says in Habakkuk 2 and 3, though it tarry, wait for it. He got to come with it because he don't have nothing but a little bit of time left. Tells you that in Revelation 12 and 12. So let's go there. This is Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil, Esau Edom, is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. So although he would like to play this thing out as long as he can, he has to eventually bring it. So this is his last ditch attempt to bring it, because he has to just come with it. He knows the people are on to him, but he wants to somehow, stretch out as long as he can so he can gather as many people as he can. But on the other end, he knows his time is shortened, so he had to bring it no matter what. So even if he do throw out false dates or false times, eventually he has to come out. He has to come with it, because it's part of prophecy. And there's nothing you can do to offset prophecy. So he has to bring it. No matter if he want to wait this year or next year, he has to bring it. So be looking and be watching so you don't get caught off guard. Stay in these scriptures, stay praying and fasting, so you be taken care of once that time comes. Because a lot of people going to be caught off guard thinking that it'll never happen again. Or this time when it happened, we're going to fight back. Well, once these businesses start to shut down and this economy start to collapse, it's going to be a different story. Once you can't go to your store and get any food, once the drivers who you order something online can't bring that to you, it's going to be a different story then. Because some people think, oh, I'll just order my stuff offline or order my stuff online. If you ain't got no truck drivers to come bring it to your house, how you going to get it? It's just going to be sitting there with backfills, waiting to get filled. You ain't got nobody to drive. It ain't an essential job. That's a luxury. Esau already told you. Esau already showed you what essential workers were about. Your fireman, your police department, hospitals. He classified the essential workers. An Amazon driver or a Walmart driver or a FedEx driver ain't an essential worker. Now on top of that, you got a oil shortage of gas. So now they ain't gonna be giving the gas that they do have in stock to no Amazon or no FedEx or Walmart delivery. That's gonna be going to the essential workers. So be prepared and be ready for this thing to collapse, and it can all start within the next month or two, with the mandates coming back and the lockdowns, okay? So be ready and be prepared, because it tells us, let's go there and read that, because essentially he going to want you to come down to him for help. This is Isaiah 31. In verse 1, and it reads, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help. And that's exactly where he's directing the majority of the people to come. Egypt, America's spiritual Egypt. And stay on horses and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen. See, you're going to trust in this system because they have everything that you need. They are looked as, the the beacon of light. You know, you come, whatever they have for you, you're gonna come and get it. Because majority of the people here are all consumers. They don't produce anything. So whatever is produced for the consumer to consume, the consumer is going to consume, and that's the people. For the most part, the people here in America are majority of consumers, and the country itself is a consumer country. So what you think? Once the system collapsed, and Esau has a certain amount of stuff set aside for, you know, a certain amount of people, he put it out there that you got to come down there and get that. But in order for you to get it, you're going to have to receive that mark. And people going to say, okay, oh, well, let me get that. You know? You're going to have to get that to get into the hospitals. This man is putting this thing in system, putting it into play. You thinking just because you see that little clip at Whole Foods that's just how it's gonna be? No, it's gonna be in your right hand. It's not gonna be connected to your credit card or debit card. You ain't gonna have time for that. It's gonna be right into your right hand. Instant transaction. Okay, it's coming. You need to be prepared and be ready so you don't be caught off guard. Finishing out this verse, because they are very strong, but they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek Yahweh. Right. And he gonna remove himself. Once that famine of the word hit, you gonna be out here left all alone. It's gonna be too late to seek him then. Okay. So let's go ahead and read one more scripture, close out. This is 1 Peter 5 and verse 8. And it reads, be sober, be vigilant. You know, this is the time to be in your right mind. Be sober, knowing what's going on. Knowing that this scriptures, the holy word, the holy Bible, is telling you play by play what to look out for. How to prepare yourself. Stay fasting and praying. You know, because we coming into a hard time, which is known as Jacob's trouble. You know, we finna hit Jacob's trouble right on the head. Like, we finna come into it. You finna see things finna start to get, you know, wild out there. People gonna be fighting and scratching it, man. Trying to get that last little bit. Whatever you see in the store, they're gonna be fighting and scratching for that. You see how it was when it first jumped off with the toilet paper, and then later on with the water. Those were all studies that they was doing. People ain't gonna have no problem paying $25, $30 for a gallon of water. And they gonna sell out too. Cause this dollar ain't gonna be worth anything. So the money you think you have in the bank right now, that ain't gonna be nothing. You're gonna have to download that FedNow app to get a little bit extra money. Inflation gonna be so high. You thinking you got a few $1,000s in the bank, but once you see these prices start to rise, you're gonna be like, man, I'm gonna have to get that FedNow app to help offset some of this inflation. It ain't no joke. I mean, you could think it's a joke. You could think it's a joke if you want to, but then once the time's coming, you get cut off guard and you ain't got no food, and the food's so high that you got to download that app. You know, you've already been put inside his gin and his snare. Step 1, accomplished. Step 2, now he got to get you to come and get it in your hand. Okay? And that's when he makes the transition from your phone to your hand. In order for you to keep the goods that he done gave you and keep the, you know, whatever currency it is that he done put inside your wallet, you got to take this and put it in your hand. And that's why I said, woe to them that come down to Egypt and look not for the help of the Holy One of Israel, Yahweh. Okay, because you're not being sober, you're not being vigilant while you have the time to look for him. You relying on this man and his system because he has chariots and many horsemen. You think that's going to deliver you? Well, it's not. The only thing it's going to do is set you up to receive and take that mark. And then we already know, pursuant to Revelation 14:9, what's the outcome for those of you who take that mark? You're going to drink of that cup of indignation. So that's why it's imperative that you be sober and you be vigilant while you have the time too. Because you're not always going to have the time to be sober and be vigilant. It's going to come a time where, you're going to have to go on what you know. And if you haven't taken the time to be sober and vigilant while you can, you're going to be out there drunken to and fro, off of every which way doctrine. So you're going to believe anything that's being broadcast out there on his media platforms, whether it's mainstream or social media or whatever it is. You're going to believe whatever's being propaganda out there for you to take and run with. So it says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. And if he can get you to buy into whatever he's selling, he's gonna get you to take it. Because by nature, majority of the people are consumers, so they're willing to take whatever that's being sold to them, as long as they can continue to steady live a certain lifestyle that they've been accustomed to. And that's what he's going to present to you with this mark. Remember, he's orchestrating this whole thing. He's making it look like it's happening natural, but in actuality it's being staged and orchestrated. This whole collapse, they are all working in cahoots, pursuant to Psalms 83. Don't just think that this whole BRICS versus, the Western Hemisphere is, no, they are all working in cahoots. This is the bringing a global, a global system. Everyone's going to be on that mark. They just making it look like it's an opposition to fight against each other, so they can get as many people, as they can to believe this. Trust and believe. This is all part of the plan. This is all part of the stage to play. They are all working in accordance. Okay? And you have to know what's going on. You have to know the play, and you're not going to know the play unless you know the book, and you're not going to know the book unless you read it. That's why it says seek you out of the book and read. Now one of these shall fail. Now one of these prophecies. The prophecies is the key. And you reading the prophecy, we read it in Revelation 13. He coming with the solution. That's the mark. Isaiah 31. For them that don't, know what's going on, they're going to go down to Egypt. 1 Peter 5:8, because they had the chance to be sober and vigilant, they didn't. So now they being tossed to and fro with every doctrine. And that's just what the devil want them at. As a roaring lion, he could walk about seeking whom he may devour. And it's going to be easy picking if you can't stand up and you falling down because you drunk off of all the different philosophies that's being put out there. Whether it's on social media, whether it's through mainstream media, it's all being orchestrated. It's all being orchestrated. So let's wrap it up with that. Hopefully somebody was able to get something from that. If it be the Lord's will, till next time, stay strong, stay in the faith. We almost home. Shalom.